what we're doing in this podcast is we're unpacking everything, aren't we?
Yeah.
Deep dive into the, not the day in the life, but the sort of weekly going-ons. Sometimes there's more to talk about than other times.
This might be one of those times.
To be fair, though, we've just buzzed through it again, and there is loads happening, isn't there? It's coming into December now, silly season, some people might call it. We've been out and about a lot. Certainly feels like I have. Anyway, go on, you start us off. What you've been up to?
Well, we've both been to London. You went to London twice within 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. The big city.
And we were pretty inspired, weren't we, when we first got there?
Yeah, amazing.
We were actually like children when we first arrived in London.
Yeah. We actually were. Well, I made a bit of a joke that it was just everything was 10x, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we sort of carried on with that. And I mean, it just became genuine, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think what inspires me so much about like London, and it has given me a little bit of a kickstart. I've only just come back from London as well, from a more of a social trip. But like a lot of people want to move to London because there's more things to do, and like the people there's more people, and it's, for me, it's more so like the opportunity. It's like the bigger relationships, and you laugh, but like the 10x of opportunity there in comparison to like little old Exeter where we are at the moment. And we don't necessarily do a lot in Exeter. We don't do much in the southwest, but location can and does play a big part of it in terms of building relationships. We do a lot around the country. We do a little bit in London, but that's really got the juices flowing and got me thinking a lot about what we can do better.
Yeah, there's a really nice saying. It is opportunity is a function of density, which basically means like there's more opportunity in a denser populated place, which makes sense, doesn't it, when you think about it? But there is just so much more opportunity when there's more people in an area, like a bigger city. And like, it's not that far for us really, London, but we've always looked at it through this lens of almost fear.
It's 2.5 hours on the train, and maybe 3.
But it is like its own little ecosystem as well, isn't it? Especially in like the world that we operate in, like recruitment and the businesses that we recruit for.
Yeah, and
it's always been a bit of a daunting prospect.
You're in, but you've kind of really got to be in, haven't you?
But we are getting into London now with like all of the event stuff that we're doing.
Yeah,
all of those businesses are like London based.
Certainly trying to do a lot more there, isn't it? And it's one of those where we're not big fish by any stretch of the imagination. We're little fish in a little pond, aren't we? Is it better to be a little fish in a big pond?
Yes, I think so. But we were joking about it, and then you got to the point when you're like, I would potentially move to London.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
For a few years.
I would, and I'd like to, yeah, because of the opportunity there, really. It's one of those where it's like, if you're going to do it, it's I think you work to it, don't you? Work to doing more and like doing more in London, that sort of thing. But I feel like the benefit of London is like you say, it is its own ecosystem. It sort of runs itself. You can do everything in London. And to be in that, I feel like you have such a big advantage by actually being in that ecosystem where you can visit people, gain those relationships, network, that sort of thing.
I think that's so much of it is actually being in the location where all of the people are, because all of our like best relationships that we've developed down here in the southwest over the last year, say, have all been through face-to-face, in-person interactions, haven't they? By
not necessarily doing any business with them whatsoever.
Yeah.
Business, but like business meetings, networking, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a game changer. I was speaking to an individual this morning who's going into London, not necessarily from London, but had a couple of networking events, lunch and dinner sort of events. I say, so like, do you get a lot from it? What's the networking like in London, sort of thing? And he said, and I said, look, sometimes it feels like down here, it's a very small pond. You see the same old people. You don't necessarily get all that much from it. And he said, yeah, some of them can be like that, but a lot of the time, because it's such a big area, you get so many different people come into it, you can get a lot from it. So I wonder if like the networking is that much better. I wonder if the opportunity for that sort of thing is that much better.
It's all of that. And then like the talent pool, if you are trying to grow a business, like the talent pool is just gonna be so much bigger, isn't it? Like an interesting anecdote is I went to school with a lad called Ben. We went to East Anstey Primary School, which was a school of, in our year group that went up to secondary school, I think there was like 6 of us. So it was a small school. And
only 6 of you graduated.
Yeah. And anyway, fast forward, he moved to London not long after like college, didn't go to university, moved to London, started a business, done a few different things. And anyway, now he's part of a company that is recruitment based. It was formerly Socially Recruited. They've rebranded to Gaia. And it's like an AI recruitment platform, a recruitment advertising platform as well. So they partner with lots of big businesses and essentially create recruitment campaigns that are driven on social media channels and just online. So I think we've spoken about this before on the pod, but they'll advertise to people in lots of different places and build like the ideal candidate profile and then go and advertise to those people. But anyway, we went to their office, not far from Paddington. It's in a WeWork space, an office of how many people was it? 50?
About 50, I think.
Circa 50. It might not have been all there in that site. But anyway, nice office space, good size. And that's grown like over the last few years. I don't know how long they've actually been going for now, but maybe a similar amount of time as us, maybe a little bit longer. It is a little bit more tech-based rather than necessarily just like a recruitment service-based business. But that sort of says a lot that in that time, they built like a 50-person business.
Because maybe, well, it's a great business, it's a great offering, a good product, isn't it? But the pool of opportunity is just that much bigger potentially as well.
And like a sort of side note within that, I'm sure they won't mind saying, but one of their largest clients, I can't remember who it was. So it's like a well-known brand. It's like a commercial client or a retail client. Can't quite remember who. But anyway, the relationship came about with them is because Ben's business partner, both of their sons played in the same football team. So yeah, they played in the same football team and they just met at like Sunday football and were talking about what they'd done and ended up being
off you go,
being clients.
Biggest clients.
So yeah, that's just like who you're going to meet just in day-to-day life.
Opposed to the kind of like networking that you get down here, is it? I don't know. It's worth thinking about, isn't it?
It's just that 10x, isn't it? It's just bigger businesses, more opportunity, more money, bigger budgets.
I mean, he's obviously a great mate of yours, and I'm familiar with him. I know him through you guys, you and Tom and Kurt, as I call you two. But like, it was great speaking to him because it's within the recruitment space, isn't it? What he does, very different in that sense. But like, I learned so much from just like a half an hour conversation with him about how they like operate the business and do run it as a bit more of a machine. And I like they're not the ultimate with what they do, but what I felt like they did so well is they like break down each part of the business in each position and just have like real specialists doing each part of that process. Yeah. So you just get so much out of it. And you think of like a typical recruiter, a typical 360 recruiter. You know, I've only just got on board with this like the last couple of years or last year maybe. I was never really for like the 180 model, that sort of thing. But a recruiter does have to do so many different things, don't they? You have to be good at so many different things. It's business development, it's sales, it's account management, it's finding candidates, it's relationships. Like, there's so many different things there that you have to be good at to be a good recruiter. And if you're not good at one of those things, you're potentially not a very good recruiter.
Yeah.
You can be good at all the BD, the relationships, the sales, but can't find any candidates and you're not be a good recruiter.
Yeah.
So, and they've split down all of those sort of different bits and like maximized each of those different bits so well as a business, haven't they?
Learned about a new job title, didn't we?
Yeah. CX.
So yeah, we've got a new CX person joining next week. Sorry, what is CX?
Go on, what is it?
You can't remember, can you?
Customer experience.
No, yeah,
thank you very much. But that's something which we've been speaking about loads recently, isn't it? Like an accounts person or an accounts manager to maximize like the customer or client experience. And we've obviously got two customers / clients, candidates and clients, haven't we? People that we sell to and candidates that we put into those positions. And it's maximizing those like experiences. We spoke about it a lot on the podcast last time. We try to do an awful lot of like candidate experience, don't we? Like maximizing that, but we don't necessarily do an awful lot on like the client side, which that's who pays you. You know, so we just haven't thought about that. So they should be getting that.
Yeah, you know, that is where so much focus should be on. And do you think that's going to be the plan for next year? Then is how do we actually dissect the role of a recruiter and the service almost?
And it's interesting, you know, you hear on the podcast all like this last year. You know, it has been a difficult year for recruitment this year, hasn't it? I think I saw one of the stats in one of the recruiter magazines. You know, there are 33% less recruiters this year than there were last year, which is a whole third.
Yeah, it's mad.
It's flipping mental.
Yeah.
The market was very much saturated, you know, years before that, wasn't it? Because of the COVID bounce back and everything. But it just shows how difficult it has actually been. And on the podcasts, you know, people are saying, oh, you've got to be working so much closer with clients. You know, you've got to be, you know, really sticky with what they're doing, with people that, you know, people that are taking on that sort of thing, rather than just flinging out a mailer, making a few calls to make a placement, that sort of thing. And I really feel like I'm starting to learn so much more about what that actually means rather than just always picking up the phone like every week and saying, you got any jobs? You got any jobs? You got any jobs? Not to say that that's what I and we were doing. We're doing a bit more than that, but those are the two extremes. And I'd really start to feel like what goes into that. Yeah. And what does go into that? What is going into that more so for us now? A big part of it is the media and the other value add we can add to their sort of list of things that we can offer them.
Yeah, definitely. So it's taken us a while to sort of get to this point really, but the media is definitely going to be a big part of it. But we've always considered ourselves as sort of consultative, but now that's becoming much more like the way that we do things, actually properly consulting with businesses, and same for like all of our team as well. So actually having the conversations about sort of a company's value proposition and how their offering is perceived in the market, and feeding back to companies on how their offer is perceived. Because so often it might be easy to sort of take a bit of a brief on a particular position that somebody's recruiting for, go out there and work it, and it'd be sort of too tricky, but then not really ever feed that back to the company. And where's the value there? You know, there's you're not offering any value, are you?
But I think what we're also trying to do is like bake these things that we do with the clients into our process. So it's just like a natural cycle of get a client on, these are the things you do, rather than get a client on, make a placement. And again, it was really interesting. I think I saw a post on LinkedIn. I can't remember who it was, and there was just one line in that post that really made me think and like really like turned a light switch on. And it was, you know, you can't be chasing placements. Like it hasn't. This year's been really difficult for chasing placements rather than chasing relationships. And I feel like I've maybe been in a little bit of a groove of that the last couple of years, chasing placements rather than relationships.
Yeah.
Given the nature of, you know, my position, having all the other sort of things to do. And it has just been about making a quick buck sometimes here and there, which, you know, is pretty bad to say, but that's almost been like the needs must sort of thing. And I do feel like I've been a little bit pulled pillar to post, not building upon the relationships that I have done for the last sort of almost 10 years and compounding that and doing everything I can with them and turning them into accounts and just letting them fade away. Yeah,
it's just like getting tunnel vision and being quite short-sighted for the immediate return, isn't it? Rather than just seeing the bigger picture and the value of the relationship over a longer period of time.
And that's been difficult for me to try and move away from when you've got a million ideas and a million other things that you want to implement, but at the same time, you're still recruiting.
Yeah. No, so it's good. So that's going to be exciting for next year. Looking forward to that. Another thing I really liked about their office, and we said that, was just the merch, just the branded merch everywhere. There's hats, branded pillows, logos on the walls.
They had gone through a new rebrand there, hadn't they?
They had gone through a new rebrand, but I love it. And I actually think that's probably like something that's interesting for most companies to think about. And I came away thinking about that after speaking with them, is you're not trying to create a cult, but you almost are. Do you know what I mean? You want everyone to be bought in. You want everyone to be part of the brand. You're wearing the hats, representing. And we've done a little bit of that, haven't we? We've got a bit of brand around the office and things. We've had hoodies before, which is already good, but now we've just got some branded bottles. They're great. Your pride and joy. We should have one of those in here, actually.
There's loads more we do, though, isn't there?
But loads more we can do just to get people bought in, just so it actually feels like you're coming to a place that is the home of something. So it is actually like a headquarters, because so many offices, I think you could walk in and it could be whitewashed desks, plain colors, feel cold, uninviting, and have no identity. But I think if you can go into a space and it's like, oh, this actually feels like I'm somewhere. This is part of it. I belong here. This is the headquarters. This is where I come and sort of represent the company and do good work. So that's an interesting thing to think of moving forward. Yeah, I think we plan to do that a little bit more, haven't we? I think we went for a nice phase of doing that. Yeah. Konker hoodies, all this sort of bish bash bosh. But then something else took priority. Which is always the case. Can't remember what it was. Website. So anyone might have seen on our socials, we have been working on a new website, which has taken a whole year to get over the line. Maddie and I were talking about this, and it was the worst possible year ever to build a website. For a couple of reasons, but mainly because we were going through such a year of like evolution, like the company was changing so much. So like when we first started talking about doing a new website back in, it was like November 2023, we didn't do a podcast, and there was no such thing as Konker Media, and we didn't recruit in like 2 of the sectors or industries that we maybe recruit in now. And we had half the amount of people that are here now. So like, and then we'd sort of started the process of building this website, and this is what it was going to look like. But then over time, it was just like, oh, now we want to add this to it. We want to add a podcast to it. What
was the main reason why we wanted to get a new website to start off with?
Yeah, the main reason we wanted to get a new website was because our previous site didn't represent us in the best way. Which is funny because if you look back over our sort of 6 years history of a business, we've had a grand total of 4 different websites.
We got another one coming next year as well.
Which
we've started another one.
Gaia keeps saying, he's like, yeah, we're trending running a new website every 18 months at the moment, which is bad. But I was thinking about this and I was like, why is that? And I just think it's because
evolution, baby.
Evolution, but we've been trying to find our identity as well, like throughout that process. So if you look back at it, first ever website, yours truly made that.
Yeah.
Took a long time. That was very cobbled together. I'd love to see it again now. I don't think I can find it anywhere. But
that's interesting. Do you know what? I can't even remember it.
It was really good.
Can't even remember it.
So I made the first one, and then second website, we were like, right, now it's actually time to get a professionally made website. And it was...
Oh my God, yeah, it was Studio Licit.
It was Studio Licit, and it was just like an upgraded version of kind of what we already had. It was very construction-y.
I do remember it. I got lost with number 2 there. I couldn't remember number 2. No.
So yeah, it's very, very burgundy, very construction, had like pictures of building sites and things. So it was just like an upgraded version of what we had already done.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were trying to find like a bit more of an identity almost, and a bit more of like what makes us different.
But it's interesting, just to cut in there, like our new website now is more like number 2.
No, I wouldn't say so.
You wouldn't say so?
No.
I would.
No.
In the sense that it's a bit more clean cut.
Oh yeah, in
like
that regard,
yeah. But and like number 3 was all very sustainability, mountains and hills. Look at me, look at this, which we were for about 3 months.
We were and we weren't. It was like we wanted to kind of go down that route, but like why did that not continue? And I almost think that it's hard to grow and like develop a business with something that wasn't actually impacting the business as like a core foundation of who you were. It almost just didn't make sense.
It was almost like we were pretending.
It was almost like you're pretending, and it like wasn't actually true to sort of the way that we were working or like the service that you're offering. Which
and I think that's why it's been really difficult for us having that website for the last couple of years, because we all say like, oh, jokingly, don't look at the website, don't look at the website. Like we're almost a little bit embarrassed about it, weren't we? And that's maybe because we felt like we were pretending. Yeah.
But like all of like the intentions were right, I think. And like it was all coming from a very good place, but we probably underestimated to uphold that alongside actually trying to like run and grow a business, and like the struggles that come with that at the same time potentially. So yeah, it just wasn't us. It was good for a period, but there was a bit of like a rebrand that took place there, where we've now got like the current logo, and
that's the best thing to come out
of it. That's the best thing to come out of it. So that was all really good.
The brand, the logo, you know that.
But yeah, you are right. It was almost like we were pretending, which is really interesting. Again, like don't try and
thinking about it.
Don't try and be different for being different's sake. Almost, you know, we were like just trying to jump on the bandwagon to a degree.
I think we were trying to jump on the bandwagon.
But all of those things are like important to me, and you know, I'm very sort of pro sustainability, obviously. But it wasn't actually ever the central focus of our business.
No.
Whereas now, fast forward to today, and like we actually really did start to see what does make us different and what we want to be known for. And a lot of that is adding more value than just being like a one-off recruiter, being able to, you know, I've said it a few times, recorded it about 10 times with Pat the other day trying to do a video. It was really tricky. But be a company that helps businesses build their brand for the future while also like hiring for today. So yeah, we help you fill the positions that you're recruiting for right now. But also what we want to do is help you, just chuck my pen around. But what we also want to help you do is, you know, build your brand for the future so you can hire organically more easily.
And retain.
And that came around from a want of actually to offer a better service. So we've always like, when we first set up, we were like, oh, we've got an ambition to be like innovators, or we want to be recruiters with a difference. And we've always kind of said those sort of things, like we want to be different from other recruiters. We want to set a certain standard.
Never really action.
But we've struggled to find like what that was.
Yeah.
So we've almost been looking for that, like, and it's taken until now to sort of identify that and properly
realize
discover it.
What we could do.
Which is almost like it is adding value and like offering a good service and actually, you know, doing something different for a business and being seen in a different light. So yeah.
I'd agree.
But yeah, the website's taken ages. Looking good though, so go check it out. It's now konkergroup.com as well.
It's up and running.
It's up and running.
We're all good.
We're all good.
Loads on there about the Conquering Pod, loads on there about Konker Media. Konker Media, really new, but yeah, jump on there, have a little look at it, because there's loads of examples on there, isn't there, Pat? Loads of bits and bobs. And if anybody's interested in having a chat with Pat the man over here about Konker Media, we do loads of different bits and bobs within that, and it could really...
Yeah, do it. Get in the shop, Pat.
Yeah,
get in.
Come on, get in, come on. There it is. Loads of different bits and bobs and different offerings on there, anything from, videos for tender CVs to events, isn't it?
Yeah. So Pat's been really pushing the media the last couple of weeks, just in terms of actually promoting it as a service as well. So again, interestingly, with the media, I think we probably underestimated how much work and time that would take to get to a certain point. So Pat's been here since like February, I think, February, March sort of time. And that was always the plan back then. And it's just taken us, up until now to sort of lay the foundations for that service and understand sort of what that's going to look like and how we would price it and
fine tune it.
Isn't
it? We've done a lot.
Yeah.
We've recorded a lot
in like the equipment, just stuff like that, actually finding what's the right kit that we need. So
and we're learning every single time with this sort of stuff, isn't it? There's always something that we're doing better and better and better and better.
Yeah. And recently Pat's become a creative genius.
Is it?
Yeah. Have you seen how good his videos are when he's staring down the barrel of a camera? Honestly, it's so hard as well. So I filmed a video. You've been away this week, but I've done 2 different...
You've done a few videos.
Well, I've tried.
Okay,
But I had to do it twice. I'd done it one day and I was like, no, Pat, we'll do that again tomorrow, because it was that... I'm still not happy with it either. But it's so hard. There's something like...
tough.
Once you're staring down the barrel of a camera, looking into it, it's like there's 1,000 eyes looking at you. Whereas it's like you're being sucked into a black hole and everything that you've been thinking of just empties away from you. So it's really hard.
It is hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. On that then, what if people are thinking about doing media and they want to do more of these videos, that sort of thing, but they're saying, it's really hard. I don't know what to do. My team won't get involved.
Yeah.
Because we've heard that.
Yeah, definitely. It is really hard if sitting in a single chair in the middle of a room and looking down a camera and then trying to like remember a script or something that you've pre-rehearsed.
That's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part. So don't start there.
And that's where everyone starts.
Don't start
and
there.
That's where we started.
Yeah. So that's really tricky. What's easy or easier is just in like an interview style, like a conversational style video. So you've got someone asking you questions and you're actually just thinking about the answer. It's not sort of pre-scripted. You're just speaking about things that you know about, which for everybody for these types of videos will be easy stuff, because the questions would be about your experience in a workplace or a bit about your particular role in a workplace, which is obviously all really easy things to talk about. And then it just becomes very conversational and you forget that the cameras are even there looking at you. So that's really easy.
I think that's the best place to start. And I think, there are a lot of podcasts popping up here, there and everywhere at the moment, because it's the best place to start and it's the easiest place to start. I mean, not everybody has like the studio and the tech for a good podcast and the editing. But if you can try to get somewhere near there, like you say, you're not having to script everything every time. You're speaking about stuff that you know about. This isn't scripted. We've just jotted a few things down before our meeting, didn't we? And we'll go through, what we do. But like, I think that's the beauty of like the Joe Rogan podcast, for example, is that none of it is scripted. He just jumps in, he's got a few notes and he has a conversation. And if you're having these conversations, you usually get so much more like meaningful conversation and actually thinking done around all these different points than you would if you were to script something and actually try to rehearse it.
Yeah.
We've written down 3 different talking points that we want to talk about today, but there's no way I would have thought we would have gone into some of the detail that we have with that and had some of the conversations off it and around it.
Yeah. Conversational style is really easy. And I think also so you mentioned about what people not wanting to get involved, if there's an actual like a day planned in the diary and it's not just like one person doing it, there's a few people that are all doing it together, one in all in, it just it becomes more of a thing that everyone's just bought into doing. And then obviously like people in leadership getting involved or buying in as well and sort of setting the standard. And here now for us, we've built video and content is just the way that we do things. So anyone that new that joins, it's almost just the expectation anyway. This is just the way we do it. And anyone new that comes in is bought into that at the same time. So it takes time, obviously, but yeah, just start with something simple.
It takes time and it really does get
What's been really interesting is like Pat's been doing some more work of sort of identifying companies that we think have maybe a really good offering and a really good story to tell, or, you know, great culture, or just a really good business that have actually got a really good reputation. But for somebody that doesn't know that company, that maybe lands on a website or the social media, what is the sort of first impression they're getting? And like so many businesses are lacking in that department, like the first impressions, like how people feel about a company when they find them. So it's been really interesting just sort of seeing what people are doing already and like the gaps that we're spotting for companies to make improvement in terms of like their employer brand and how attractive they are as a proposition to their potential workforce.
It's much easier to tell a story through video or actually talking about it rather than just putting some words on a piece of paper, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Which is typically what it's been for everybody.
Yeah.
And I do feel like people are making the shift towards the video side.
LinkedIn's for the video now.
Yeah.
There's like so much.
It is. And that's like just this year, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know, we were putting out a lot of videos at the start of the year. We were doing bits and bobs, you know, right in front of a camera, but it's gone so much more towards that.
Yeah.
But I think some people do underestimate how difficult it is. The tools required to put like decent video out.
Yeah.
And the time it takes to actually do it.
Yeah. I think it's one thing doing video for social media or LinkedIn. You know, you can do it with a mobile phone, get yourself a little lav mic that connects to your phone, and sort of away you go. You can do something pretty good that belongs on social for that. But it's actually when you start putting video together that you want to be like more professional, to live on a website or a company, like certain documents that you might use for clients and services and things like that. That's where it's just that next level, and you just need professional help. So
Konker Media, if you know what you want to produce, then come to us and we can produce it for you. But if you know, on the flip side, if you want to do media, if you understand the benefits of it, but you don't know what to produce, we're here. We're here for that as well, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
There's so many different ideas
we can
bring to the table.
That's a big part of it. So every company's got such a different story, and one, you know, there's no sort of cookie cutter product that will be perfect for everybody. It's about sort of uncovering what's good about a particular business and then telling that in the best possible way, which again, sing Pat's praises, is where he comes in from his background at university and sort of documentary style film and things like that. He's really good at sort of generating new ideas and sort of constructing production that sort of tells the best story for you. So yeah, definitely help there.
And these big one-off lovely videos, fantastic, great for social media, all that, but little and often is brilliant as well.
Yeah.
Builds credibility. And I mean, yeah, if you've got a good story to tell, you've always got a good story to tell rather than just at one moment in time.
Yeah, it's not a one-hit wonder by any means.
Cool.
That's what the series that I'm making as well.
Pat said he's making a series all about that, so look out for it.
And what's that one called?
It's called Employer Brand Blueprint.
Fab.
Say it again, just because the mics went.
The Employer Brand Blueprint.
Nice.
Okay. Well, let's finish it there then, shall we? That's the end of life at Konker.
It's not called Life at Konker, but that's not the end either. We've got one more thing to talk about.
One more, shit.
Just in case anyone hasn't seen or heard of the new sporting craze that is Padel. We've got a Padel Networking Group.
Certainly the new sporting craze in Exeter.
Yeah, but it's a craze everywhere.
It is.
It is. Yeah. It's such a good sport. But anyway, got Padel Networking Group, just started it. Second session's coming up. We've already got, there's 13 of us currently booked in for that. Could be more. City Padel in Exeter.
Open to all businesses.
Not industry specific. Had a really good turnout last time, and we've got some interesting people coming again.
And you don't need to be good at paddle.
No, we're all beginners. Although I did buy a paddle/racket in the sale.
Second time you played, straight in.
All the
Loved
gear,
it that
no
much.
idea.
No, it's very much a networking place to meet new people doing something a little bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not formal.
No.
It's not a come in your suit and tie. It's early morning. Have a bit of a paddle. You play with somebody who you know is good at if you did it, or if not, you learn how to play paddle.
Yeah.
But it's great fun because it's rallies, isn't it?
Yeah. It's all the best bits of tennis.
It's all the best bits of tennis and squash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So drop us a message.
Drop us a message if you're interested in a bit of paddle.
Nice.
Right, leave it there.
Yeah. See you next time.